Thank you for listening to the show on Really Big Something Channel. May 1st, 2018.
The Kuhner Report is powered by Kelly Financial Services. Cleaning up your financial bull. Get the peace of mind that you deserve at Kelly Financial Services.
Should the United States bomb Iran? And should Israel bomb Iran? Okay, my friends, Bibi drops an absolute bombshell yesterday. Benjamin Netanyahu shocks the Middle East, the United States, and the entire world. We're going to cover that, obviously. Jam-packed show for you today at 1:05. You don't want to miss it. The latest news, and it is now stunning, on the migrant caravan. This story gets worse and worse. And Trump lashes out again at Mueller. And this time, everybody's asking the question, who leaked all of the questions that Mueller now wants to ask Trump in a one-on-one interview? Another illegal leak. Is enough enough? We've got all of that, so much more. Believe me, you don't want to touch that dial. But first, my friends, are we now heading towards war? The winds of war are now blowing strongly in the Middle East. And in particular now, the looming showdown between the Ayatollahs in Iran and Israel is now getting closer and closer and closer. And so, as you know, my friends, I've reported on this multiple times, the Trump administration has a self-imposed deadline of May 12th. In other words, in 12 days, they are going to decide whether to tear up that horrendous, horrible deal signed by Obama, along with Jean-Francois Kerry, his Secretary of State, with the Ayatollahs in Tehran. Trump has suspended the sanctions. For now, he has waived reimposing sanctions. However, he has said on May 12th, he is going to make his final decision on whether we're in or we pull out of the Iran deal. I think it's safe to say he's going to pull out. After yesterday's stunning presentation, Bibi Netanyahu shocked the entire Middle East and really the world, in a very dramatic revelation where there he was, PowerPoint presentation at a major press conference, whereby he admitted to the world, in fact, he even showed to the world, 55,000 pages of secret documents, along with 183 CDs that the Mossad, the Israeli intelligence services, had managed to capture within the deep archives at an unknown location somewhere in Iran. It was a major surveillance and espionage coup for the Israelis. And so they essentially got a hold of these documents, the originals. They're now in a safe location in Israel, and Bibi unveiled the shocking findings. Here is what Bibi now has revealed to the world. Number one, that the Iranian mullahs, according to Bibi, have been lying. They have always maintained and claimed that their nuclear program was for peaceful purposes. In other words, for civilian use, nuclear reactors, energy, etc. That they never planned or designed or wanted a nuclear weapons program ever. Bibi shows that was a massive lie. For years, the Iranians had a clandestine, covert nuclear weapons program dealing with highly enriched uranium that could only be used to produce several nuclear bombs. And on top of that, they are also building, according to Bibi, expanding their ballistic missile capability to eventually put a warhead on these missiles that could target Jerusalem, Tel Aviv, Riyadh in Saudi Arabia. They now have the capability to maybe hit Paris, London, Berlin, and much of Europe. The Iranians then, according to Bibi, disbanded their program, but then they took it underground. And this program, led by the same scientific researcher, has been continuing to work on this covert program in full defiance of international law, in full defiance of the international nuclear watchdog, the International Atomic Energy Agency. So not only do they still have a secret nuclear weapons program, not only are they building a ballistic missile program that could strike anybody in the Middle East, anybody in Europe, and eventually the United States of America, but according to Bibi Netanyahu, the basis of the deal signed in 2015 by Obama, by Kerry, by France, by Germany, by England, by the European powers, was based upon the Iranians claiming that they have no military nuclear program, that they have no nuclear program intended for military purposes. And as Bibi showed yesterday in his powerful presentation, this program continues to exist in a clandestine, covert fashion. In other words, the basis of the 2015 nuclear deal was predicated on a pack of lies. Iran had a nuclear weapons program, still has a covert program. They lied to the International Atomic Energy Agency. They lied to Obama. They lied to Kerry. They lied to the Europeans. And they continue to build up their ballistic missiles because that's not part of the deal. And so in the end, when everything is said and done, here is now how the chips fall. The Iranians have the capacity, according to Bibi, to kickstart their nuclear weapons at the drop of a hat. And that capability has not been untouched. That capability has not been dismantled. As they keep their nuclear potential there, they are now building up their ballistic missiles to be able to hit any capital, any enemy, any country, any power in the Middle East, in Europe, and eventually the United States. And so, as far as Bibi is concerned, the deal is dead. The deal should be discarded. It should be torn up. It is a horrible deal. And as I talk to you, in Syria, as you know, Iran and Hezbollah, their Shiite proxy militia, has been backing Bashar Assad. Israelis have now been bombing, Israeli Air Force jets, air jets, the Air Force has been bombing key Iranian targets within Syria. Over the weekend, they launched two devastating attacks against bases in Syria, killing numerous Iranians and destroying numerous missiles. There is already now a proxy war between Iran and Israel in Syria. According now to Haaretz newspaper and the Jerusalem Post, who are the two best sourced newspapers in Israel, Bibi Netanyahu has now drawn up plans for a potential massive air campaign to not only bomb Iranian targets in Syria, but to bomb Iranian nuclear facilities across Iran. Because according to him, he believes the mullahs are close to achieving a nuclear bomb. And thanks to the nuclear deal, they are now flush with $150 billion with a B, including $1.8 billion in cash. They have the money. They have the resources. They have the technical capability now they're a threshold nuclear power state. And as you know, the regime has repeatedly, in Tehran, vowed to wipe Israel off the face of the earth. As Khamenei has famously said, we will finish what Hitler started. And so Bibi has now said, I am staking my leadership, I am staking my prime ministership, I am staking everything I have on not allowing the mullahs to get the bomb. As Bibi put it in his words,
even after the deal, Iran continued to preserve and expand its nuclear weapons know-how for future use. Why would a terrorist regime hide and meticulously catalog its secret nuclear files if not to use them at a later date? Third, Iran lied again in 2015 when it didn't come clean to the IAEA as required by the nuclear deal. And finally, the Iran deal, the nuclear deal, is based on lies. It's based on Iranian lies and Iranian deception.
And he then essentially dropped the hammer. It was coded, but he basically said the mullahs now pose a mortal threat to America, to Israel, and to the peace of the world. Roll it, Jared.
So this is a terrible deal. It should never have been concluded. And in a few days' time, President Trump will make his decision on what to do with the nuclear deal. I'm sure he'll do the right thing. The right thing for the United States, the right thing for Israel, and the right thing for the peace of the world.
President Trump yesterday at a press conference with the president, the leader of Nigeria, was asked specifically about Bibi's evidence, this bombshell revelation, and his call for Trump to pull out of the nuclear deal and not to renew it. What Trump said is he's going to make a decision very soon. However, and this is the key point, Trump said that U.S. intelligence has looked at all of Bibi's claims. They have looked at the evidence, and they believe, according to what Trump said, it is, quote, 100% authentic. So what you see here is Trump, again, encircled by the establishment, leading Republicans, leading Democrats, the entire conventional wisdom in Washington are telling him, do not pull out of the deal. It's going to lead to potential war and chaos in the Middle East. The Iranians will be enraged. We will no longer be able to contain the mullahs, and we could have a potential war coming down in the future. Trump, however, is going to follow his instincts. I believe he and Bibi are essentially playing a tandem. It's a tag team. Trump says he wants to end the deal. Now Bibi has given him all the ammunition he needs to pull out of the deal. Macron, Angela Merkel, Theresa May, Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, Mitch McConnell, Paul Rhino Ryan, they are all urging him to stay in the nuclear deal. Here's my opinion, and then I want to hear from you. 617-266-6868. This is maybe the most horrible deal in the history of diplomacy. And what I think is very noticeable here, crickets from Ben Rhodes. Remember he created that echo chamber to promote the deal in 2015? Ben Rhodes is silent. Jean-Francois Kerry is silent. Barack Hussein Obama is silent. You know why? Because I think deep down they knew what we all knew. That this deal didn't prevent the mullahs from getting the bomb. It enabled the mullahs to get the bomb. It put them on the path toward the bomb. I say end the deal and reimpose crippling sanctions on the mullahs. This deal should never have been signed in the first place. So let me ask you, to pull out of the deal or not to pull out of the deal? That is the question. Your calls next. 12:25 here on the great WRKO. Okay, my friends, so after Bibi's dramatic presentation yesterday, there is now open talk within the Israeli media that Israel now may have no choice, if Trump should pull out of the deal, to start launching a devastating air campaign and bomb key Iranian nuclear targets within Iran, which could spread to a major Middle Eastern war. And so my question now to you is this. If Israel does strike out at Iran, should the United States get involved? What should we do? And do you believe, Bibi? Do you believe the Iranians have had a clandestine, covert nuclear weapons program going back almost 20 years? 617-266-6868. Lines are loaded. Jerry, you're up next. Go ahead, Jerry.
Good morning, Jeff. I feel silly. I'm just going to be redundant because you pretty much covered it all in your opening statement, but this is an example of political back-scratching between Bibi and Donald. I think they obviously have a cooperative, reciprocative relationship. I think the embassy move by Trump, bringing it to Jerusalem, was part of this issue. And basically what Bibi's done is he's just laid the groundwork for Donald to say, you know, this is a bad deal. It was a deal done in bad faith. Here's the proof of the bad faith. And I'm getting out, and if you're not smart enough to see the writing on the wall, then, you know, that's on you. But here's the proof. I believe Netanyahu. I think the Israeli Secret Service, whatever their version of the Secret Service, intelligence agencies are probably...
Jerry, they're called the Mossad. The Mossad.
If not, maybe the most effective in the world, given the circumstances in which they have to operate, amongst the top in the world. So I believe the information that they have gleaned from their research to be accurate. I think it's, like I said, just making it easy for Trump to say, see, I told you so, and I'm out.
Jerry, let me ask you this. If you were advising the president, would you say, Mr. President, pull out, or would you say try to renegotiate a new, better deal?
Well, I'm not smart enough to answer that question. I can only give you my opinion. I'm tired of war. I'm 59 years old, and it seems like my whole life has been, you know, growing up with a war that our involvement in some type of war my whole life, and I'm just tired of it. You know, I don't want to see another one come down the pike, but in saying that, I don't want to see a suitcase smuggled into New York City with the potential of wiping that city off the map because we became complacent and tired of war. Sometimes you got to do the dirty work, and whatever you. I wish it was as simple as saying, you know, here's your choice, A or B, and it's one of these two choices. But it's not that simple. It's a more complex issue than that, and I don't possess the intelligence to be able to work it through.
Jerry, can I be honest with you? I think you're being honestly a little bit too humble, because I think what you just summed up, no, I'm being honest, I think you have summed up the feelings, I think, of the overwhelming majority of this audience, and I think of the country. I think the country is with you all the way. In fact, I pretty much said the same thing to my wife last night. I said, you know, war clouds again are gathering in the Middle East. And you know who's going to have to do the fighting and the dying? Most likely us. It's always us. I don't want the mullahs to get the bomb, but I don't want us to get involved in another war. I'm sick of war. And so what I think we're going to do, and I hope this is what Trump does, Jerry, is that he's going to pull out of the deal. We're going to slap on really tough, crippling sanctions, contain the mullahs like we've done with North Korea, and just put maximum economic diplomatic pressure and squeeze them and squeeze them and squeeze them. Pull out of the deal, yes, but another war, no. That's my position. 617-266-6868 is the number. Let me ask you, double-barreled question. After Bibi's presentation, should the United States pull out of the nuclear deal? And if Israel goes to war, should we also go to war to disarm Iran? 617-266-6868. Okay, my friends, the president is now defending the morale at the White House in the face of new reports from the media. Let's get the details from Nick Bovee in the WRKO newsroom. Take it away, Nick.
Get back!
12:35 here on the Great WRKO. Okay, to bomb or not to bomb? That is now becoming increasingly the question, beyond to pull out of the deal or not to pull out of the deal. So, Bibi Netanyahu yesterday, in extremely dramatic fashion, unveiled a successful Mossad operation, that's their secret intelligence services, whereby they were able to essentially steal over 100,000 secret, top secret in fact, Iranian documents from a secret atomic archive. 55,000 they have in paper, the rest is on 183 CDs. It shows, according to Netanyahu, that the Iranians, in fact, have had a secret nuclear weapons program going all the way back to 1999. That even though they said they dismantled it in 2003, it has continued covertly. And that when they claimed in 2015, which is the basis of this nuclear deal, that they had no military nuclear activities in Iran, they bald-faced lied. Bibi is now saying, end the deal. Just walk away from it. We gave Iran $150 billion, $1.8 billion in cash. And why is this deal so bad now? According to Bibi and Trump and others, the deal does not cover ballistic missiles at all. It just covers the nuclear side. And so, as Bibi laid out yesterday, if they still have all of that nuclear weapons capability, all of that highly enriched uranium, all of this nuclear technology stored in several places throughout Iran, and as they develop and perfect their ballistic missiles, and they are testing ballistic missiles, that now can reach Jerusalem, Tel Aviv, Riyadh, you name it, Beirut, Paris, London, Berlin, Russia now, they can hit Moscow. According to Bibi, now the mullahs pose an existential threat, potentially, to the Jews of Israel, to the neighbors in the Middle East, to the West itself, and he says one day, within a few years, to America. And that's why there is now open talk in Israel that maybe Bibi will have to launch a devastating bombing campaign once Trump pulls out of the deal to dismantle and destroy Iran's secret nuclear facilities. Now, to be fair, some conservatives, not all, but some conservatives, anti-war conservatives, are now pushing back and pushing back strong. And leading the charge is a good friend of mine, Pat Buchanan. Buchanan yesterday went on the Sean Hannity radio show and made a couple of key points. Number one, he said, remember the Iraq War. We supposedly had all this intelligence that Saddam was sitting on stockpiles of WMD, and where were those weapons of mass destruction? We were essentially lied into a war, according to Buchanan. Point number two, the Iranians have not reneged or violated the nuclear deal itself. This is what Buchanan's arguing. So why should we pull out of the deal that the Iranians are so far upholding to the letter of the deal? And number three, according to Buchanan, he does not believe Bibi Netanyahu. According to Pat Buchanan, he says this is all more Israeli half information, disinformation to dragoon the United States into another large, bloody, expensive, and unnecessary war in the Middle East. As Pat Buchanan told Sean Hannity, it's Bibi that wants war with Iran. And Bibi wants the U.S. military, U.S. boys and U.S. girls to do the fighting and the dying on behalf of Israel. Roll it, Jared.
So you didn't watch Bibi Netanyahu's evidence and believe it today, because I believed every word of it. I believe that
Bibi Netanyahu, with due respect, wants the United States to fight a war against Iran when Israel...
Nobody's talking about fighting a war.
I don't want my country getting into another war.
I don't want another war either.
look, I don't want a war either. I feel like an echo chamber here. So, look, pull out of the deal. I think it's a horrible deal because you've got to squeeze the ballistic missile capability of Iran. That's why you got to pull out of the deal. And so what I would do is I would impose tough economic international sanctions. I mean, really contain the mullahs and get an international coalition like we've done in North Korea and squeeze them and squeeze them and squeeze them. And the Iranian people, by the way, I think are our trump card. They hate the Islamofascist mullahs. They hate their vile, corrupt, fanatical theocracy. So the people of Iran want to overthrow their rulers. Put so much pressure on the regime that then they will start to crumble. The people will rise up like Solidarity in Poland against the Soviet Empire, and it will crumble and die from within. I don't want another war, but walking away from this deal doesn't guarantee a war. You may disagree, agree. I want to hear from you. 617-266-6868. Jerry on the Cape. You're up next. Go ahead, Jerry.
Comrade.
Jerry, how you are, my friend?
I have a message for you from Yuri. Nothing is coincidence. Things do not happen. Things are made to happen. Das vidanya, comrade. Jeff, did you see the tweet from Abbas Aragashi yesterday?
No, what did he...
Iran's deputy foreign minister.
Yes.
And I quote, "The Iran nuclear deal is no longer sustainable for Iran in its present form, without regard to a U.S. exit." 7:38 a.m., April 30th. That was yesterday morning, Jeff.
Jerry, let me correct what I said. I forgot the name, but I did read it. Haaretz reported it, and you're 1,000% correct. The official Iranian response now is, we don't think this deal is viable either. That's why I'm saying if the Iranians don't want it, let's walk away.
They already canceled it, basically. But, Jeff, he wasn't supposed to win. They never thought she would lose. All of the secrets are coming out now about the Iran deal. The side deals, we knew about that since 2015. But, Jeff, what names are going to be revealed in these files of U.S. citizens? That's number one. And all of the uranium did not go to Russia. It was secretly funneled to Iran by Obama and Hillary. And let me tell you why, Jeff, what their plan was. The traceable uranium, the DNA, the isotopic structure, can be traced to any batch of uranium to any part of the world where it came from, its origination. Jeff, you know what these sickos' plan was? The previous Jerry's right. They are going to try to detonate a bomb in the United States and pin it on Russia so we have World War III. Both countries are devastated, and guess what, Jeff? The long game. The globalists win, don't they? They have their one world government then, don't they? Millions of people die, but they get their one world government.
Jerry, let me ask you, and I want to ask all of you this question. I'm being very sincere when I ask this question. Do you think that Obama, Ben Rhodes, John Kerry, I could go on and on, but let me just stop with those three, who were the architects of this deal, do you think that they knew that Iran had a covert nuclear weapons program, that this deal essentially covered it up, and that they were deliberately turning a blind eye?
Jeff, the traitors within our government from 1999 forward are all going to be revealed in those files that Israel has. That's my belief system.
So you think, let's just stick to 2015 for a second. I know you're right. It goes all the way back to 1999. You think, are we dealing with people who are such Benedict Arnolds that they would secretly lie to the American people, lie to the world, and secretly allow the mullahs to have the capability within a few years to develop a nuclear bomb that everybody knows if they have it, God forbid, they will use it on the Jews of Israel? Is that the kind of traitors we've been dealing with Obama, Ben Rhodes, and John Kerry?
Absolutely. And Jeff, I'm telling you, that's what the plan has been all along. Iran gets to use Hezbollah and detonate a device here in the United States. Hillary would have went to Congress and declared war on Russia, and that would have opened the door for Iran to attack Israel. That was the plan.
Very interesting. As always, comrade, very interesting. Mark in New York, you're up next. Go ahead, Mark.
Howdy, Jeff.
Hi, Mark. Mark, sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but I have to ask. I think about this every time you call, and I have to ask you. You're calling me from New York. You have this southern twang, and you always start with "Howdy, Jeff." Are you like a dispossessed southerner living up with the Yankees or something?
I tell you, I'm from the heartland of America. I'll leave it at that.
Okay. All right. Go ahead, Mark.
Oh, man. Jeff, I'm a Rand Paul conservative. And if nobody else has the guts to say it, I'm going to say it. I think John Bolton and Mike Pompeo and the military-industrial complex are planning some false flag terror attack to blame on Iran. Now, why would I say that? Well, recently, Iran just dropped the U.S. dollar, and they're now using the euro. So this feels like a repeat of the sudden demonization of Muammar Gaddafi, who was a longtime friend of the USA, when he tried to create an African Union currency. Point number one, how the heck did Israel get all these documents? Did they hack into Iran? If so, Israel has a pretty sophisticated hacking operation. And point number two, Netanyahu has zero credibility. He's under criminal investigation in Israel. In the last election, he only won 20% of the vote. He lied to the American Congress in 2003, said Saddam Hussein had weapons of mass destruction that led us into the Iraq War. Just yesterday, he was promoting a false story about the Arabs in Israel disrupted a minute of silence for some people killed in a flash flood. So I don't believe anything that Netanyahu is saying.
Do you think, Mark, you think Buchanan is right, that his ultimate goal is to dragoon us rope us into a major war to fight to fight Iran on Israel's behalf?
Jeff, I feel like Steve Bannon and the rest of the Catholics in this country. I feel like we've done everything for Trump, and Israel has done nothing for Trump. Yet he turns around and gives Israel everything. He moves the embassy from here to there, no problem. But the rest of us conservatives that sacrificed everything to keep a peaceful nation and to avoid foreign entanglements, we're the ones getting screwed. I don't like it.
Mark, final question, because you're making obviously some very interesting points. What do you say, though, that, okay, Iran, you're right about Libya and you're right about Iraq, but Iran, not that we should go to war with Iran, but that Iran has never been our friend, right, since the 1979 revolution. They're an Islamic republic. They hate America. Anti-Semitism, anti-Americanism is the mother's milk of that regime. That it's a different kind of regime. And so we have to be tougher on them than, let's say, on the Gaddafis or on the Saddam Husseins, because they were secularists. These are militant Islamists. What do you say to that argument?
Well, look, I'm an America first. If we have to go to war, if we have to make a decision, I will support this country. But understand who we're going up against. These are the Persians. These are the Sumerians. These people have existed for thousands of years, maybe 6,000, 7,000 years. They've had civilization. We would be very smart and wise to step carefully before making any rash decision.
Mark, as always, very thoughtful call. Thank you. Tom in New Jersey, you're up next. Go ahead, Tom.
Hey, Jeff, God bless you and God bless the world.
God bless you,
Jeff,
Tom.
Yeah. Jeff, there's three Benedict Arnolds that have done irreparable harm to the United States of America. Jimmy Carter, Obama, and Kerry. Jeff, they empowered the head of the dragon, the head of the snake, which was and always will be Iran. Here's what should happen. Pat Buchanan, I have one question for you, my good man. Let's see if Iran will let you go to the Fordo Mountains, and let's see if they will let you examine their underground, extremely fortified bunker, which houses all their nuclear development. If they'll allow you to walk through that, Patrick Buchanan, maybe I'll agree with you. Here's what we do. Let's recycle the Obama-Kerry Iran treaty. Let's put it through the recycling center, and see how many rolls of toilet paper we can get out of that. After we do that, the only ace we have, Jeffrey Kuhner, is peace through strength. We choke them just like we choked the psychopath in North Korea. And by the way, don't trust that bastard as far as you can throw President Trump, because he's a bad, bad hombre. Jeff, this is bad days. And I'm counting on President Trump. Peace through strength.
Tom, thank you very much for that call. 617-266-6868. Fordo, by the way, just for those of you that don't know that term, is the secret location that Netanyahu claimed yesterday has a lot of this enriched uranium, an Iranian nuclear warhead, and a lot of their nuclear weapons technology. Fordo is the one area they are not allowing the UN inspectors to take a look at. So that's, the Israelis are saying, you want to know where Iran's nuclear weapons are? That's where they are. 617-266-6868. Pull out of the deal? Don't pull out of the deal. Should we bomb Iran or not bomb Iran? Your calls next.
WRKO.
12:56 here on the great WRKO. Okay, my friends, you can text us. Just text WRKO, so we're sharing a text line, so we know it's for us. Whatever your message is, 70470. So text us at 7470, 70470. This is from 978. Jeff, the sanctions were working, and the regime was ready to fall. That's when Obama lifted them and put the deal in place. Bingo. Bingo, 978. That deal was ultimately rescue the mullahs in Tehran. Rescue the radical Islamists, the Islamofascists. And that's why my suggestion is tear up the deal, reimpose those crippling sanctions, and this time don't stop until the regime collapses. You don't have to fire a shot. Just my opinion. Brett in Honolulu, you're up next. Go ahead, Brett.
Aloha, Jeff.
Mahalo, my friend. Mahalo.
You're my voice of Radio Free America here in this democratic state of Hawaii. It's kind of fitting that we're talking about this on May Day. You know, it's the Workers' Day today, so there are probably parades getting ready to run here in Hawaii for the May Day. All the workers will be out. But anyways, Jeff, you are spot on. We need to pull out of the deal. We need to re-engage those sanctions, and we need to, like your previous caller, peace through strength, and just cripple the mullahs out there in Iran, just like we did with Reagan did with Russia, and Trump did with North Korea just a month ago.
With the Rocket Man.
With the Rocket Man, yes. And again, peace through strength. We need to support Israel. I don't believe Netanyahu's lying, but I do agree that we should not expend our precious military in a war against them, but peace through strength, just like Reagan did. And so it's you are absolutely correct on this.
Brett, aloha, my friend. Thank you very much for that call. Okay, 617-266-6868. I promise I'll continue to take your calls. However, huge story. Robert Mueller has 48, almost 50 questions that he wants to ask President Trump, and they were leaked to the New York Times. And the president is rightly enraged. He's saying another illegal leak of classified information. Who is the leaker? And now pressure is building on Trump to sit down with Mueller and answer those questions. Should he sit down with Mueller? And what are those questions? That story next.
The voice of Boston is you. 680 WRKO Boston, 100.7 WZLX HD2 Boston, an iHeart radio station.